Just a little after 3 o'clock, back from my second doctor's appointment in as many days. Nothing to worry about, I hope not. Nothing so far. Well, we got our big mystery boxes here. Let's take a walk outside on a semi-gloomy day here. Got a few of our implements of destruction out here. I think it's time we actually start working on the boat itself for a change instead of all this trailer work, which we've been doing for days and days and days and days. I went ahead and I used their numbers, or their holes, to figure out some center lines. It's always the hardest part on these boats once they're done, you know. I mean, they've got these molds and shapes and everything else that goes along with it. Finding the exact center is always the worst for me. So I went ahead and I just cheated off of their stuff and found the actual center line and a couple square lines for their holes also, and square it up and put a couple Sharpie marks on there, and that will be where we do the cutout eventually. But for today, we have to ruin this guy's home. Yeah, so life sucks for you. There's plenty of woods around. You can find a new home, because I've had about 4 or 5 would-bes living in these holes. So it's time for the transom to go away. And I am kind of like perplexed on this whole thing with this transom. It looks like somebody actually used a drill to drill out the whole thing, which is just insane. I mean, this is like 1,000 holes you would have to drill all the way around. Whatever. And again, also, this transom, that is plywood. This is not the ironwood, quote unquote. This here, I mean, I'm pushing a little bit away. I'm hoping it all just falls off, honestly, but it's actually coming apart. So that isn't that ironwood, it's a plywood. But as I said, today is the day that we have to remove the transom. When they put these twin motors in, they really, they butchered the interior here of this motor box and stringers. As you can see, they're only kind of like little dog legs that are holding on to the transom. Of course, all that's going to be fixed. I'm not really sure what this center board is. I think that's actually how they supported the center of the 2 motors, or I'm not really sure. That doesn't belong there either. Neither does this tray. We're going to put in a new tray. It's probably going to be much further up. But yeah, that will go in with the deck and all that good stuff. But at the moment, I'm going to have to cut these little dog legs off with my Sawzall, because they're about useless anyway. We'll scarf in a piece of stringer here and a piece of stringer here, because it's mainly made to hold up the deck. And most of it, you know, just the wood part itself is just filler anyway. A lot of it was balsa. I mean, some people even use foam or what have you. It's not really structural, so it's not a big deal there. Stringers are in surprisingly good shape of what exists. I mean, even with the cutouts and such, it doesn't seem any rot. I mean, we haven't dug into them with a pitchfork yet, but we're going to get into them deep here shortly. But for now, it's time to turn on some tunes and destroy some crap. Been about 5.5 hours. It's getting dark, wind's picking up, but we did get everything out that we wanted to, including that piece there and another piece over there and all the transom wood, and including that piece that went across the top. It's all gone, all ground off, and they totally missed the exhaust. A few unexpecteds, a few expecteds. We'll see how it works out. Like right over there, that hole right there has a nice little crack in it from what I can see right now, and that one right there does also. So, but we'll be grinding them out and fixing it up. Pretty much all of that's going to get replaced anyway because of the holes, and then there'll be a new hole right here where the old fiberglass is still existing. Tomorrow we'll be back at it as long as weather helps, and we'll be taking this out and that 4x4 out. That's going to hit the oil pan of the motor, I know it is. So we can't leave that in. I'm not sure, like I said, it must be something for the twin motors to sit on, I don't know. Because it's not in the other one. It's not in my 19, so yeah, we're going to have to get rid of that also. And there'll be time to actually start building some things. It's getting late, that's for sure. And of course we got a big mess to clean up. So we'll have to pick this back up again tomorrow. So here we're starting another day, and we have more destruction to do. Today we're going for those center pieces, and then we're going to probably prep up some of these areas for stringer repairs and maybe get rid of that big glob of crap over there, or whatever that is. And there's another one on this side. I have found that using a concrete grinding wheel like this guy here, it's actually a masonry grinding wheel, not for metal, it's just for, you know, concrete and whatever else, block and such you would use it for. But I've been using this one, and I used this on some block and other stuff, and as you can see, it's almost none of it's gone. And I took all the transom off, all the stuff around the top here that was done, that board was glued on. It was glued on with some Cabosil and some poly about yay thick in some places, or yay thick in some places. Yeah, it just kept on going and going. And these discs, they work great. I mean, I have some nice 32 discs, 32 grit for these, for my grinder there. And they work great, but they wear out fast, you know. So I mean, I'll be use those for like cleaning up stringers and things like that, because I really don't want to get into the meat of the whole scenario. I just want to clean the glass up, and so it's easy to get new glass attached. One thing about these guys though is wherever you touch wood with them, it's not going to do crap. And I mean that. I mean, it's like it doesn't even exist. It's like it buffs it. I don't know what the deal is. It goes through fiberglass like nothing, but wood, it will not touch. And I mean, even just a thin sheen of wood over top of the glass, it has to be taken off before that stuff will grind off. But that's what these guys are for. You just kind of go in there and rip that wood right off, and then you go ahead and attack it with that. And like I said, I mean, you can just grind and grind and grind until it's all gone. Or that's my tip of the day, is to use a masonry grinding wheel to take this fiberglass off in the bulk. But with that, it's time to get dirty. Like, I'm clean on the inside, but on the outside, yeah, not so much. So it's another day of grinding away, and hopefully the major bulk stuff will be done today, and maybe tomorrow we can start doing some wood. Well, UPS just dropped off another expensive box, and man, does this one come with a story. What we have here is a Volvo 280T transom shield. It took me 2 years to find the first one. Now I've had 4, and a 290 also, which is a little different. But these 280Ts, they're like the universals. You can use 280s, you can use 270s, you can use 250s. Anything of that nature will bolt right up to this outdrive. The 290s are a little different because of the arm that holds everything together is a little different shape. But if you took that off and put a regular 270 arm or a 280 arm on it, it would work also. But like I said, this thing comes with a story. Besides it being a freshwater, perfect condition drive, I mean, it has every seal, everything's still attached to it. This is wonderful. But I had a real challenge with this guy, I'm telling you. I found this auction, and I immediately contacted him, and because it had a buy it now or make an offer, and I made an offer on it. He let the offer expire, so I sent him an email, and I said, hey, is there something going on with this auction that I don't know about here? And he was like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know what was going on, I missed it, blah, 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 go ahead, make your offer again. So I make a second offer, and he lets it run all the way up to the last minute, and then declines it. No reasoning, anything. So I write him an email and I say, hey, I'm going to be in New Jersey, which this is where it's at, right around the Turnpike area. I'm going down through New Jersey on Saturday. I can bring cash to your house, pick it up, and you don't have to deal with anything on the fee side or shipping side or anything. Doesn't contact me back. So when I get home, I'm a little frustrated. I do the buy it now. 600 bucks, pow, right there. Pay for shipping, pay for taxes because it's a buy it now. Now it's considered a purchase. Everything. 2 or 3 days later, I get an email saying, hey, when are you going to come pick this up? I'm like, I ain't picking up crap. So he starts back and forth a few times, and he starts with I'm going to Virginia. Where are you located? Blah, blah, blah. And I told him, here I am. And it's like, oh, that's too far away from me, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yeah, that's your problem. I paid for shipping. And he goes, okay, well, I'm going to go down and get an estimate tonight. I was like, well, that's your problem. Again, just get it in the mail, and he writes me back the next day, and he says, I need another $136 to ship this. I'm like, what? What are you talking about? I already paid for shipping. I'm like, it's almost like you're shaking me down here. And he's like, all right, if you don't pay for it, then I'm just going to cancel the auction. And I was like, you can't do that. And I got an email within like a minute and a half later that he did it. Canceled it outright after I did a buy it now. Was not happy. So in the process, I also get a notification that a transom shield come up for auction at the same exact price that I was looking at. So I went back to the auction and did again the buy it now. The shipping calculator was off a little bit. It came up to like 80 bucks. I went ahead, I paid for the $80. And I sent him an email and I said, I did it again, it's on you. And this time eBay is not going to say it's anything on me. And again, he hemmed and hollered, said he was short, this, that, and the other thing. And I explained to him again, this is your problem, not mine. I did not set up the auction. And I've been waiting days. It's been about 9 days now, and 8 days, whatever it's been. And it finally arrived after he already said he dropped it off, which again, after 3 or 4 days, I didn't get a shipping update notification. All I got was a tracking number that said, it had been printed. I sent them an email, and miraculously, the next day, it shows up. So, I don't know. I don't know what the deal is. Long story short, well, I guess it's a long story now, but it's here, and it's another one of these one-of-a-kinds that I've looked for years and years from my 19 over there. And when I found it, I thought it was the greatest thing ever. And now I've got, this will be number 4, and it'll be going in this 19. Yes! Woo! Alright, we got those 2 pieces out, and I'm telling you, I should really keep a running tally on how much weight we pulled out. Between the motor box, it was a couple 100 pounds. That friggin' 4x4 right here has to weigh 50 pounds. I mean, it is a monster. That's why I pulled out my big maul here. I wasn't even playing around with that thing. But this double layer 3/4 inch probably comes out to 1.5 inches of lumber there. Also probably weighs in about the 30-pound range. I mean, between the 150, 200 pounds of motor box, another, you know, 80 pounds here, maybe 70 pounds. Let's even go light, say 50 pounds. A dual motor with exhaust manifolds and everything else that goes along with it. And as I said, these are like, you know, 302 Fords. I mean, back in the day, they were only pushing out 200 horsepower, 220 at max. I mean, so that's 440 horsepower, all this extra weight. It just totally defeated the whole reason to have twin motors. I mean, I could see with, like, you know, twin small block, you know, NASCAR motors doing 800 horsepower apiece, but just regular old everyday stockers, no, not even a reason why to do this. But we're gonna let the dust settle for a second, and then we have to do some grinding, which we won't be able to film because the camera will end up just a big dust cloud. I wonder if the camera heard that. See that tree? That's our local woodpecker. That's fast as hell. Off he goes. So as you saw, we ground everything back. Anything that was a protruding hole that we find, and now that the sun is setting and it's striking across the stern here, we even found a couple more just to grind out, I guess. We got to get some glass over top of any of these holes. Kind of shape these down a little bit so they'll get plenty of glass in there. Plenty of mat. Then on the inside, we got everything else cleaned up. Had to remove a lot of things. This should probably be like called the takeaway project, because it seems like everything I'm doing is just taken away. Like these things here, they were like motor mounts or something, so I had to cut them out because all the wood inside was rotten. And it also stopped the flow of water coming up this way, and it was like a little dam right here, so that's why the water just sat there and seeped right inside. So all that went away. Over on this side, we had another motor mount of some kind here, which also created a dam on this side of the stringer, in which case water just sat in here and turned it pretty much to mush. Now we're going to have some stringers to fill in after we get a transom in. And having that bar gone in the middle is a real plus too, because I hated walking on that darn thing. You had no place to put your foot flat. There goes 2 days of labor and a little tiny bit of electricity, but it was needed. I mean, I needed to get rid of all this stuff. Everything for the twin motors is now gone. Things that need to be put back are prepped and ready to go. I know it doesn't really look like it, but believe me, I've ground and ground on them things. That's a gel coat on the outside, of course, to help cure the fiberglass as it's being set. Even though it looks like roving on the outside, they still put a gel coat over it to help it cure. So we're just dealing with that in a lot of places. So after days and days of destruction, I think there will be some days of construction in the future. But tomorrow, my big plan is to get to the dump with most of what was in here and hit the Home Depot and probably spend a ton of cash. I mean, I can't believe how high wood prices have gotten. I mean, I might as well put teak decks down in here at one point if the amount of money that we're going to spend on plywood. Well, it's just after a little car goes by, and 1, 2, 3. It's actually coming apart. Why is the lighting so terrible? Test, test, test. That looks like a pretty decent shot. I think I'll get everything that I'm not in the way of. The lady has nothing for us. Okay. Alright, we're going to do this now. Alright, we got those 2 pieces out. We're going to wait a second before we talk. Is that on the end? I don't know how to get the lighting on this. This is horrible. This should be like, I don't know. I hope it looks better on film.